If you have ever thought, why isn't my globe working like everybody else around me, this video is for you. You've tried the gym routines, you've tried the skincare, the Pinterest outfits, the manifestation journals, but still nothing seems to land. It feels off, like you're forcing a version of yourself that never quite fits. That is because the most magnetic, attractive, aligned version of you, it is not out there, it's actually written in your chart. This isn't about forcing discipline or chasing beauty trends. It is about discovering your astrological aesthetic and unlocking the most natural version of your energy through 4 placements that change everything: your Mars, your Venus, your rising, and your 6th house. And I call this the AstroGlow Method. Mars, it's your motivation blueprint. It literally shows you what workouts you are going to be able to sustain and the way that your body wants to move. Your 6th house, it's all about your daily rituals, your health, and what kind of food nourishes your body and is aligned with your digestive system from an astrological perspective. Your Venus, it is your personal style and your magnetism, what makes you attractive. And your rising sign, it is your visual aura and your first impressions before you even say a word to people, how they perceive you. If you are tired of burning out from routines that don't match your energy or dressing in styles that don't really feel like you, this is your turning point, because I'm going to show you exactly how to glow up by actually being more yourself. Let me ask you a few questions before we get started. What if your inconsistent movement had nothing to do with your willpower and everything to do with your Mars sign? How would that feel? How would you talk to yourself? How would you interact with the fitness influencers online? What if your wardrobe wasn't working for you because you're dressing like your sun sign instead of your Venus and rising sign? Guys, you have been marketed a version of beauty that is one size fits all. We all have. But your birth chart, it is actually the cheat code to understanding your authentic energy and how to use it to your benefit instead of feeling like you're being someone else. This is not just another astrology video, this is reprogramming. And I personally created the AstroGlow Method because I'm a Virgo stellium, so after years of trying to better myself, follow the millionaire morning routine, trying to go to the gym twice a day and burning myself out, trying to eat the vegan diet, trying to cut out meat, all of these different things, I realized that none of it stuck because it wasn't me. My life was optimized for algorithms to be seen and admired by others instead of to be admired and felt by myself. It was not until I started using astrology as a self-development tool that everything changed, because I started listening to my inner world instead of the outside noise. And the results, you can literally see it in my pictures. How I felt was seen in my appearance. After doing this, I felt more aligned. I didn't just glow up, but I felt more like myself. And I attracted aligned people and opportunities since doing this. And that is the beauty of astrology. It doesn't ask you to become someone else. It invites you to remember who you are and live from that truth unapologetically. In this video, I'm going to break down each of the 4 key placements in the AstroGlow Method so you understand the fundamentals. And once you do, I will give you multiple free resources in order to implement all of this and to see the transformation in your own life. Let's begin with the heart of it all, your Venus sign. Venus is so misunderstood because people often reduce it to romance or surface level beauty. But Venus is like your magnetic field. It is the way you receive, the way you draw in money, love, abundance, affection, and opportunity. It's also how you embody the energy of deserving. And on top of that, it's the place where we carry many wounds. Wounds of being told we're not beautiful, we're not desirable, we're not enough. And I think Venus is the key part to this formula, because once we unlock it and we work with it, it becomes the part of us that doesn't chase but attracts. The ultimate planet of femininity. And no matter your gender identity, everyone has feminine energy. But here's the catch. Most people are disconnected from this placement. It's been shamed out of them, conditioned out of them. They've abandoned it. They've repressed it. They've tried to control it and confine it into something that looks good on the outside but feels empty on the inside. My Venus is in Cancer, and for the longest time, I just did not get it. I thought Venus meant that I had to look a certain way. I had to dress up my softness or make myself more extroverted in order to be noticed. But the more I did that, the more invisible I felt, and the more I attracted the wrong opportunities and people into my life. It wasn't until I understood and honored the deeper emotional currents of Cancer as an archetype, that sacredness, that nurturing, the power of creating safe spaces for others and for myself. The beauty and vulnerability. That is when everything shifted. I got comfortable in my feminine energy and allowed myself to receive, and people could notice the difference. When you start to embody your Venus sign, not just conceptually, but energetically, you stop performing for love and you start attracting authentically. One of my clients had a Venus in Capricorn, and she was obsessed with appearing as polished, put together, productive, but love felt sort of transactional. She didn't feel chosen, only useful. When I started working with her Venus, we focused on boundaries, structure, and letting herself receive without earning it. Within months, she felt her relationships start to deepen, her business expanded, and most importantly, she starts to feel safe in her own worth. Another thing I see a lot in my clients are those who have a Venus in Pisces, and that makes it really easy to get lost in relation to one another, to dissolve the boundaries and give everything you can to the other person. This leaves people feeling drained, but it's when they learn to romanticize their own life that wound changes and they become the muse, not the martyr. This is the kind of transformation that Venus offers on an energetic level. She teaches you that beauty isn't just effort, it's resonance. You don't become more attractive by doing more. You become attractive by being more of yourself. So how do you begin to work with Venus in your own life? One of my favorite things is to do journaling and dress based off of my Venus. So for example, if you're a Venus in Cancer too, you might need more sacred time alone. You might need more nurturing meals, cozy clothing, emotional intimacy, versus a Sagittarius Venus who might need more adventure, travel, road trips. It's about understanding what your sign craves and doing that in real life, and also wearing and putting on the pieces that embody your Venus sign energy. And I like to blend this with the rising, which we will talk about later. When it comes to style, Venus doesn't want you to change. It wants you to remember who you were before someone told you what beauty should look like. Before you measured your worth in likes, mirrors, and someone else's desire. Venus is the return to yourself. Imagine walking into a room and not scanning for approval. Imagine feeling like you're radiating beauty and attraction, not just because of what you're wearing or what you're saying, but because you're deeply at peace with who you are. When your Venus is awakened, the world will bend to meet you. This isn't just about love, it's about work, friendships, abundance. Venus governs value, and when you learn to value yourself and you learn the hidden blocks of your Venus sign to overcome that and start valuing yourself, life will stop putting you on discount. And I know online I talk a lot about blending your Venus and your rising sign together for style, and that is so true and that is so crucial. But the true transformation begins when we also learn about the blocks that come with our Venus sign, how to heal those, and how to see ourselves as worthy through the lens of it. The first free resource I want to reveal to you, if you want to learn more about how to actually implement your Venus and work with its energy, you can join my free community, Glow Lab. I'll have it linked in the description, but let's move on to the rising sign. This is the first part of you that walks into a room before you say a word. Your rising sign is your aura, it's your energetic outfit. It is the vibration people feel from you when they first meet you, not your personality. And most people have no idea how important it is in the glow up process. You can wear all the trendy clothing, you can say all the right affirmations, but if your rising energy is out of alignment, something will always feel off. Your energy won't land because you're cosplaying as someone else. You're not showing up in your natural rhythm, and your body can feel that. As a Pisces rising, this lesson has taken me years to understand, and I'm still learning it every single day. I used to fight against the softness of Pisces, the etherealness, the dreaminess, the emotional permeability. I wanted to be clear, sharp, social, and defined. But the more I tried to be on all the time, the more I burned out. I felt drained, invisible, and confused. So my energy started to feel scattered, like I was performing all these different things. And this also scattered the way that people actually resonated with me. It wasn't until I started honoring the truth of my Pisces rising, the sensitivity, the mysticism, the fluidity, that everything shifted. I stopped trying to be so direct and follow the blueprint of other people. I started allowing for more mysticism and magic and spirituality in my life and my rituals. And I let silence be more powerful and more accepted. I stopped over-explaining and I started letting my energy speak more for me. And I'm still working on this today. And I can tell it's worked because of the compliments I get. Things like, your energy is so safe. You come across as so calm, so kind, so sweet. People will recognize me for my brand with spirituality, and they will appreciate the emotional vulnerability I have to share, and I'm able to meet people on a deeper level when I talk to them. All of this is because I have aligned with that natural aura. So your rising sign tells you how you can tap into your natural energy, your first impression, and actually glow. And then your Venus sign shows you what makes you attractive, what draws things in. Your rising sign is going to filter out your Venus and how you deliver it to the world. And if you're not expressing your rising sign energy in the right way, you're probably going to feel misunderstood. For example, I've had a Scorpio rising client who has always said that people felt their energy was intense. So she tried to dim it. She tried to smile more or laugh more, but it felt fake. And it was the moment that she started embracing that intensity, wore darker tones, embraced the mystery, the cherry wine colors. She moved slower. She didn't say too much. That is when people started to respect her. They trusted her, and her power turned from intimidating to irresistible. And we can look at this with the Gemini rising too. Some Gemini risings believe they have to be more laid back in order to be appreciated, in order to be liked. But Gemini rising energy wants to move, speak, interact. So I encourage those Gemini rising clients to talk more, to engage, to speak up, to wear more fun, lighter, playful clothing, to be more spontaneous. And instead of feeling like a tryhard, they're leaning into their natural energy. So guys, now you understand like the energetic principle of it, but your rising and your Venus sign are also the key to your style. Not in a superficial way, but how you dress yourself to match your natural energy. For example, a Leo rising is going to thrive and glow when they have bold outfits on. And you want to combine this with the Venus. So let's say you have a Cancer Venus and a Leo rising. So Leo wants to be bold. They want to be seen. They want to have a sense of regalness. And Cancer Venus, what makes them so attractive are those little elements of memory, of emotion, of comfort. So maybe you wear a bold outfit with significant pieces and necklaces that hold memory, like a gold locket, or you wear a comfortable knit sweater on top to have those little elements of attraction. And Taurus rising, for example, is going to glow when they have this kind of natural, more grounded, luxurious, sensual clothing on. Sagittarius does better when they can move in their clothing and they have more expressive clothing. Let's say they pick up things from their travel or a bunch of Gymshark outfits that they wear. And these aren't exactly rules for you to follow. It's understanding your energy and how to dress to appreciate and enhance your energy rather than go against it. Your style does not need to be trendy. It needs to feel like you. And one of the resources that I want to reveal to you is my free Venus and Rising Sign style guide. I'm going to have it linked below, and it shows you in a practical way what outfits to wear and what colors, accessories for your rising and for your Venus, and you can blend those together to start fitting with your natural energy. And if you want to understand more of the principles behind this, I also have a rising sign branding guide, and it actually goes more into depth about the energetics of every single rising sign. So hopefully that helps. Your rising sign is like a language, so let's study what it needs, what it tries to avoid, how it expresses itself. Dress for it, speak for it, live through it. The world has really taught us to judge how we appear, how we look. The rising sign invites us to experience that energy and appreciate it, not judge it. I want you to take some time to ask yourself, when people first meet me, what do they feel? How do they perceive me? Is how they feel matching who I really am? If not, it's not because you're fake. It is because your rising sign has been trying to get your attention, and it's time to let it lead. Because when you embody your rising sign, your glow up is not just going to turn heads, it's going to shift the energy in the room. I have seen so many clients who are frustrated that their routines don't stick, that their goals feel overwhelming, or they lose motivation really quickly after they start a new plan. Every time Mars is the missing piece, I look at their chart and I have an aha moment. When you are not moving with your natural Mars energy, you will feel like you're pushing a car in neutral. But when you are, you become unstoppable. It becomes easier to show up to workouts. It becomes easier to show up to work. Not because it's easy, but because it feels natural. One client I had, for example, had a Mars in Libra. She kept trying to force herself into high intensity workouts. She thought that those strict routines were going to get her health goals, to make her feel good. But she ended up quitting time and time again. So when we looked at her chart and I saw her Mars, it was clear. She needed balance, beauty, and social energy in her workout routine. So we shifted her routine to include more music, walking with friends, partner-based workouts, workout classes, gentle Pilates in a beautiful space. Suddenly, she became consistent, not because she was trying harder, but because she stopped betraying her Mars energy. And I noticed this myself with my Mars in Virgo. That is a placement that does need structure, or it falls off super quickly, and it needs to engage the mind in some way. That's why a consistent weightlifting split is way easier for me to stick to than sporadic workout classes throughout the week. Most of my clients who come to me actually have a Mars in Pisces, which is usually the same trend, them constantly being drained from trying to stick to rigid schedules. But when I give them more space to have intuitive flow and let them know it's okay to change their mind in their workouts, it's okay to have emotional release, to do things alone, to escape from the outer world in your workouts, when they start following those creative impulses and their intuition, they become more productive than ever before because they're feeling aligned and working out feels good for their natural energy. Mars is how you show up. It's the posture in your walk, the heat behind your voice, the aggression when you set your boundaries, or the lack of aggression or the presence of aggression when you set your boundaries. It's not just about doing, it's about how you assert yourself in a world that usually asks us to shrink. When your Mars is repressed, you will feel scattered, resentful, or even fatigued. When it's ungrounded, you might feel frantic, chaotic, but when it's aligned, you feel focused, you feel embodied, alive. So start by noticing what energizes you and what depletes you. Look at your desires, your irritations, your instincts. Mars doesn't live in the mind, it lives in the body. What movements feel like freedom to you? Embodying our Mars also means owning our anger, not in violence, but in vitality, because anger isn't the enemy. It is a signal that your boundaries need tending to. Your Mars kind of protects your glow up because it moves you out of the spaces that you're not meant to be in. It moves you out of the spaces that dishonor you. Personally, some of my deepest transformations have come when my Mars has led. Even when it feels scary, saying no, walking away, starting over, choosing myself. Here's the truth we don't talk about enough. Many people feel tired not because they're lazy, but because they are misaligned. They are forcing themselves to show up in a life that goes against their natural energy system, or a job that doesn't appeal to their natural work ethic. For example, if you have an earth sign Mars, like Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo, yes, you need structure, but you also need grounding, pacing, and space to build slowly. Versus a water sign like Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio Mars, they need emotional momentum. They do best when their heart is behind their movement. Air Mars, they are fueled by ideas, stimulation, connection. They need a spark, a challenge, a reason to get up. So before you beat yourself up for procrastination, ask yourself, is this truly resistance, or am I trying to glow up and show up in a way that is against my natural rhythm? If you guys want to learn more about Mars signs, go ahead and join the free Glow Lab community. We actually have worksheets every single month, and this month we are going to be working on Mars signs in, I want to say, the 3rd or 4th week of September. So get excited for that, and let's move on to the 6th house. Now we are at the most underrated and essential part of the AstroGlow method, the 6th house. If the Venus sign is how you attract, if the rising sign is how you're seen, and Mars is how you move, the 6th house is how you sustain all of it. It is the part of your chart that governs your daily rituals, habits, your health, your devotion to yourself. Traditionally, it's ruled by Virgo. It's the stuff you do every single day, the routines, the mundane, often the unglamorous rituals that support your glow up and your sustained health. Virgo doesn't care about the highlight reel. It cares about what you're repeating, what you're digesting, what you're putting into your body, physically, emotionally, energetically. Digestion is key here. Your 6th house doesn't just tell you what to eat, it also tells you how you metabolize life. The 6th house governs our gut, our ability to process, to integrate, and to break things down. So if you're feeding your body junk, or you're overloading your nervous system, or repeating rituals that are misaligned, your glow up is not actually going to last. This was a huge turning point in my journey because I have a Leo 6th house, and for a long time I was so strictly disciplined, and I felt bad for allowing fun into my life. Then I realized that my movement, my rituals didn't just need to be functional, it needed to be entertaining. My meals needed to feel like they had a sense of luxury. If my schedule didn't include joy, it would be hard to show up for daily life. And when it comes to the food aspect of this, I would go and try these restrictive diets when Leo 6th house really needs rich sources of protein, even animal meat, and I know that's controversial, and I do work with clients who are vegan and have a fire sign 6th house, but in general, you guys have a very strong metabolism if you have a fire sign 6th house. So you need good quality protein sources, and you also need a diversity of colors in your diet. Sagittarius is going to want to maybe eat more in the excess and experiment with foods from all different cultures, versus a Leo 6th house wants entertainment in their meals, dinner and a show, watching a movie, being with friends, having a plate that is fun to look at, having some element of creativity in their meals. When I began to infuse my daily rituals with creativity and warmth, my entire energetic field changed. I realized I didn't have to force myself into these restrictive, unhappy routines, and I actually needed joy in order to thrive and show up better for those around me. I have a few clients actually I work with who have an Aquarius 6th house, and with these people, it's hard to follow normal wellness advice. It just never sticks because they feel boxed in. So I like to shift their routines to tech, novelty, unpredictability, biohacking, cold plunges, new music every morning. This will allow their energy to stabilize not with control, but through curiosity, through innovation. Another example would be a Taurus 6th house. So this person is going to need more grounded rituals, walking in nature, warm meals, steady schedules. When my clients with this placement follow that, don't just look better, they feel safer in their body. Your 6th house teaches you that self-care isn't indulgent, it's maintenance, and that maintenance is very important and crucial to the rest of your chart and your life. The more you begin to tend to yourself with devotion, the more you will glow up. This is also the house of service, not the kind that drains you, but the kind that makes you overflow. You cannot pour into the world if your cup is empty. So this shows you how you can refill your cup throughout the day-to-day. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be consistent, and this part of your chart shows you what you're meant to be consistent with, how you can stay consistent. And let's talk about food, because the 6th house rules that as well. What you eat is a message to your nervous system. Are you rushing through meals? Are you heating up your food? Are you hydrating enough? Are you eating what's trending, or are you listening to what truly nourishes you? Your 6th house can guide you towards food that aligns with your element and also eating patterns that align with it. For example, if you have a fire sign 6th house, especially in Aries, it's super important for you to heat up your meals or your digestion isn't going to be as good from an astrology perspective. And then if we look at, let's say, a Cancer 6th house, these people can be prone to indulging in food and finding comfort and emotional safety through food. So when I see a client that has a prominent moon placement or Cancer ruling their 6th house, I know that's something to look out for, and we really need to sink in with our emotions before we eat in order to make sure we're not doing it just to self-soothe, but also to nourish ourselves. So now you know that Venus is what makes you effortlessly magnetic, the energy you were born to receive through, how your rising sign broadcasts your frequency to the world, how your Mars sign shows you what propels you into action, and your 6th house to understand the rituals that sustain everything. We know the individual parts, but it's when we work together with everything that we unlock something deeper. So this is the AstroGlow Method, and now that you know it, you can stop chasing trends and start aligning with your natural energy. And you can genuinely feel like you're glowing, not just from a physical standpoint. I want you to take a moment and reflect which of these 4 placements resonated the most for you, which of these placements have you been ignoring or suppressing, and what would happen if for the next 30 days you aligned your entire life around these 4 points in your chart. Because this method isn't about astrology as information. It is about astrology as transformation and learning to trust your natural coding, to stop borrowing energy that was never meant for you. You don't need a new life, you don't need a new identity, you just need the version of you that already exists. So if you're wondering what it would look like to fully embody your chart and feel like you're glowing from the inside out in your daily life, in your workouts, in your beauty, in your style, in your health, all of it, then here are the next steps. So I want to mention some free resources as I promised in the beginning of this video. Number 1, click the link to join Glow Lab so you can start gently applying this method in a community of people who are also interested in astrology and going through the same thing. It is completely free to join. Just click the link below and make sure when you get in there, you introduce yourself and you check in for the challenge of the month and you start the worksheet for the week that you're in. Another free resource is the Venus and Rising Sign Style Guide. So it teaches you what outfits, what colors, accessories are best for your Rising and your Venus, and that is going to be linked below. And for the people who are eager to embody this as quick as possible and work with me one-on-one, AstroGlow is your step to the full transformation. I will personally help you glow up and implement all of this stuff within 4 weeks, just 30 days. And if you want to learn more about that, I'll have that linked below, and you can also message me on Instagram at Amelie's Advice to learn more about it. If you want to see more free content like this, just subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. I love you.